Paiton and Evelyn. Oh,
super ugly. If you're watching on YouTube right now, do not come for me that we look the same as we did in the previous episode a while ago, because we recorded these on the same day. Okay, point blank.
We not dirty. We wash our clothes. Okay.
Look, I don't even wear the same outfit within the same 2 weeks.
No.
We
take showers and we clean our clothes.
I gotta keep it new. Gotta keep it fresh. Gotta keep it clean.
That's not the issue.
Can't let y'all see me in the same outfit, so don't try to come for me. Okay, stay over there. Stay over there. Okay, period. But anyway,
look, shut it down for the comfort. Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Nip it in the bud.
Okay, I just want to make that clear. Off bat. Make that clear for you.
Done.
Off bat, I'm making it clear for you right now. Okay, get yourself together. Don't come for me. Come for yourself. Because I know you don't wash your clothes that often.
Oh.
But we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, we're not going to talk about the people out here that have them dingy, dusty clothes everywhere they go. The matte clothes. The clothes where the colors are fading.
The bacon collar.
Learn how to wash properly.
The bacon collar.
Learn how to wash properly, okay? Okay, then we can talk about me. Learn how to wash properly. Then we can come and talk about me. But this is filmed on the same day as one of the other videos, so that is why we're wearing the same clothes. Thank you very much.
Drop the mic.
Said Paiton out.
I'm done because I wasn't even thinking of that. I was just gonna go in recording.
Oh my god.
She said, let me clear this up real quick.
I had to clear it up. Evelyn, you know how the people try to come?
They do. They do.
They be ready. Shots fired.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gonna fire them shots at me today.
Can't even open your mouth yet. Shots already fired.
Dang, haven't even gotten to the conversation. Let me talk. Jesus. I already knew you was thinking that. That's why I said it first. I got you. I said it first.
She came in too quick.
I beat you to
just so you know.
I beat you to the conversation.
Just so you know.
Yes, just so you know. FYI. Caution. Disclaimer. Okay? Jesus. Let me live my life. Okay. Into the actual conversation for today. The real topic at hand. Okay, what we're talking about today. Alright? We're gonna talk about unconditional love. Is unconditional love really unconditional? Should love actually be unconditional? Or should love be conditional? And yeah, we're going to explain that, and we're also going to talk about the actual definitions of it. But Evelyn found some definitions, and she found two different definitions. So I'm going to have her read them two definitions to y'all, and then we're going to get into the topic here.
Yes. So the first definition of unconditional love I found is loving someone unconditionally does not mean that you can't have boundaries, but that you are going into something with no ulterior motive or unspoken expectation of obligation for the other person, right? The other definition I found, which I do not agree with, is unconditional love is known as affection without any limitations or love without conditions or complete love. So that was the other definition.
So and which one do you agree more with?
I honestly don't agree with any of that.
Okay.
I don't agree with any of these definitions. Now, I kind of agree with that first one more, which is about needing, you at least need some type of boundaries or something when it comes to, you know, a relationship with someone. But what I found, I don't really agree with unconditional love just means you're just letting that person do whatever they want. I don't think that's what unconditional love means. I think unconditional love means that you know what I'm saying, you are accepting that person for certain things, and you're not holding things against them. You're not holding grudges against that person. That's what I think unconditional love is. Because in the Bible, it talks about when you have to love someone, you're not counting their wrongs. You're not keeping track of their wrongs. You're, in spite of certain situations, you're loving that person, you know, wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
That person does not have to do anything for you to love them.
Yeah.
You just love them. That's the part I agree with. I don't agree with you. That doesn't mean you're letting a person do whatever they want. All that means is you are holding that person accountable if something comes up that you don't agree with, but you just not gonna toss them or throw them away because of that situation. Yeah. That's what I think unconditional love means. It means in spite of what we may go through, I'm gonna still love you, but I'm not gonna let you walk all over me. I'm still gonna communicate when you do something wrong. I'm still gonna communicate if I don't like something. I'm still gonna let you know if you walking around doing stuff that even doesn't look good on your part. But I'm going to still love you. I'm not going to hold grudges over things that you do. Yeah. And that goes into how I agree with loving someone from a distance. Just because you may not talk as much as we used to, or just because something has come up or something has happened in our relationship where it kind of changed the dynamic, that doesn't stop me from loving you. It's just now it's not as our relationship and our communication is not what it used to be. But the love has not changed. Yeah. The communication has changed. The things we do, how we move together, navigate together has changed. But my love for you has not changed. And that to me is separate. So that's what I think unconditional love is.
Okay. I agree that by definition, if you're thinking just directly about unconditional love in the word unconditional, you know, if we think about words, condition, and then you're taking the conditions out of the love, which makes it unconditional. So that means that you have to love that person without any conditions. And I think that by definition of the exact word unconditional love, that's what that means. That you have to love that person regardless and in spite of, point blank, period. Do I think that by that exact definition, that's how people should love? No. Because I think that it can be taken for granted and used out of context. But I do think that by definition, that's what unconditional love means. I think that it's very on point with, you just have to love me however. It's just how that word unconditional comes across. If we're just thinking about the word itself and, you know, not adding any examples, you know, or extra context to it. Like when I just think about the word unconditional, that's what that means to me, point blank, period.
So do you think that it's just easy to fall out of love with somebody? So if we're talking about unconditional love, if somebody does something, do you instantly just fall out of love with them based off it's a condition you had set or whatever? So now say you're in a situation where you can love someone wholeheartedly, right? And it doesn't go as planned. Do you just automatically just fall out of love for that person?
I've heard some people say that they're able to just, like, you know, once that person did the one thing that, you know, they didn't like, they instantly kind of just, I think some people say have the ick for them or whatever, you know, they instantly don't like them anymore. But I feel like then you probably didn't actually love that person. If it was that easy for you to kind of, like, you know, shake them off and forget about them. I think that everyone heals in their own time. So one person may take them a year to heal, another person may only take them 3 months to heal. I'm not gonna say how long it'll take for you to heal, but I don't think you're able to just instantly like not love that person if you actually did genuinely love them. That's how I feel.
And I agree. That's why I asked that, because I feel the same way. If you love someone, I don't think it's you. That's not something you just turn on and off. Like, it's not like a switch where you love someone today and you don't love them tomorrow. Yeah. So I think that's why I have my definition of unconditional love, because someone can do something and you can choose not to have that relationship with that person. Right. But that doesn't mean you don't love that person anymore. Right. Because there's certain people you can have in your life that you say, oh, well, we've chosen to part ways, but you know, if that person comes and says, I need a helping hand with something, they'll be there for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In that situation. Yeah. So that's kind of my perspective or my take on it. I don't think you completely just write somebody off. And that's what I think unconditional love means. Yeah. Because I don't think it's possible to love someone and then you don't anymore. Just like that.
Yeah. I feel like I said, I agree with that. I don't think it's possible to just magically like turn it off and just magically shut it off like that. Otherwise, you probably didn't have that love in the first place. Like I said, I do believe that by definition, unconditional love is like, I love you in spite of and regardless. But at the same time, personally, I don't think that means that you should allow that person to take you for granted, or to just do anything to you, or to, you know, treat you any type of way, or to just do whatever they want or whatever they feel like. I do believe that there has to be, I guess, some conditions, if that's what you want to call it. Like, there has to be some boundaries, you know, put on it. You know, I mean, whether you're putting boundaries on them because, you know, they crossed the boundary in the past before, so now you have to do this because, you know, they've messed up, or maybe they haven't messed up, you just putting a boundary there so that they don't mess up, so that they know what you're not going to take or whatever it is. But I do think you have to put some type of, you know, some type of something in place there, because we kind of had that conversation when we were having our conversation about boundaries. And I forgot what episode that was, like episode 8 or something like that.
I think it may be 7.
Yeah. Yeah,
it may be 6.
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't even remember. But when
it's one of the episodes.
When we were having that episode, like, I feel like that's basically what we were talking about. We were having that whole discussion and going like back and forth and stuff. We were basically talking about how you have to, well, I was kind of explaining why boundaries are important in a relationship, and why you put those boundaries out there, and why, you know, regardless of how you may feel about the situation, you know, which Evelyn kind of talked about how she felt about it, you also have to think about how there's another person in the aspect of the situation. So boundaries may not be there for you personally, because you know what you like, or you know what you don't like, so you already understand what you can take and what you can't take. But sometimes those boundaries are there for the other person because they're not you. They're not inside your head. So they need to know something physically, like a boundary, or have a placeholder, you know, or something put in place to help them understand, like, oh yeah, this is what I can't cross, or this is what I can't do. Like, you know, you may not feel that serious about it. Like, you may be like, oh, it's not that serious. But just for the other person's mind and for them to understand you better, you're probably going to have to communicate exactly what they should not do. So.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's why I didn't agree with that last definition of unconditional love, where it's just like, basically you do whatever you want to that person. And that means it's unconditional. I don't agree. I think boundaries, yes, are important. And I think that communicating certain things within relationships is kind of showing love for that person.
Yeah.
Because I care about you enough to not have you out here looking crazy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I care about you enough to communicate to you how I'm feeling in that moment. Mm-hmm. I care about you enough to let you know, certain things that I don't agree with. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you this because I want you in my life. Mm-hmm. To me, that's what unconditional love means. Yeah. I want you in my life. I love you enough to, you know what I'm saying, keep you in my circle. So I'm going to make sure that I let you know certain things that I may not, agree with at that time. That's to me, that's a part of communicating and, a part of loving someone.
Do you believe that love hurts or that love is supposed to hurt? Or do you believe that love is something that should be a feeling of peace and happiness? Or do you agree with some people when they say, oh, love hurts sometimes, like love is supposed to hurt?
I think love hurts because of that unconditional aspect. Mm-hmm. Which we both agreed on. You can't just fall out of love with someone. Yeah. So I think that's why love hurts, because you can love someone, that person can love you. And I feel like with family, I feel like love hurts more. Mm-hmm. Because you're conditioned. I think that you're supposed to love family in the unconditional way you're saying, which is by definition. Yeah. Which is no matter what you do, no matter what you say, I'm always going to love you, blah, blah, blah. It's harder to set boundaries with family than it is, I think, with outside relationships. Yeah. So I think that's why family relationships, I think, can hurt a little bit more. Yeah. Because you're just so conditioned to thinking that I'm supposed to love you no matter what. Yeah. So I'm going to let you do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. That is that definition of unconditional love. Yeah. That internet was talking about on that part. And what you're talking about with the actual definition of the word. That's what that means, I think. And I think it's easier to do that with family. Yeah. Especially with parents. Yeah. Especially with siblings. So I think that part hurts more because you want to love someone so much, but they're hurting you in the process. Mm-hmm. And it could be with their actions. It could be with their words. It could be in the way they communicate things to you. Mm-hmm. So I think it can hurt. Yeah. But I don't think it's supposed to hurt all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's where the effective communication comes into play. If you can communicate me with a certain way, it won't have to hurt all the time. You know what I'm saying? We can agree to disagree sometimes. Yeah. So I think it can hurt, but it hurts more in certain perspectives, I think.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't think that love, I want to say that I don't think love is supposed to hurt. I think that a lot of times we hurt ourselves by holding maybe too high of expectations or assuming things on people, or especially the expectation one, because I feel like sometimes if you really put this person at the top of your list of perfection and thinking oh, this person can never do no wrong to me, they love me so much, this person can never hurt me. Of course, once they make a mistake or they actually do something and they come down off that high horse, that high pedestal that you put them on, it's gonna hurt like crap. It's gonna feel like rock bottom, because you're the one that probably initially put them on that high pedestal in the first place. They didn't put themselves there, you placed them there. So now you kind of put yourself in a position where love now really hurts. And you didn't have to put yourself in that position necessarily. I think that you can hold people to some standards, but never set overly high expectations where you can get hurt. Like, never put yourself in a position where you're operating off of the love of that other person. Like, never put yourself in a position where you have to have their love or you're not gonna survive. Which is kind of like what we're talking about with the Blueface Krishan situation. Like, she's kind of putting herself in a situation where she has to have his love or she can't live, she can't breathe, she can't survive, she can't move on, she can't, you know, just be with herself and accept herself and love her own self. Because she's put him on such a high pedestal that if he's off that pedestal for her, she just gonna crash and burn. So I would say never put anyone up to that high standard, because then you just end up honestly hurting yourself in the end. And that's what makes love hurt. Like, yeah.
So do you think, going back to them, do you think she's showing unconditional love? Because even though they have their issues and all of that, she's loving him in spite of his wrongdoings. And so you think she's showing unconditional love? Or is that just borderline mental illness?
Maybe a little bit of both. Because I don't know. I feel like she, I mean, I don't know her, so I don't know exactly what they talk about or what they do. But from what's shown, it seems like she's not putting any boundaries on him. It seemed like she just kind of accepts whatever kind of comes her way. It's not like, you know, she's saying like, oh, he did this to me, so, you know, we're gonna take a little break from our relationship. Or, you know, it's not like she's saying like, oh, X, Y, and Z happened, so, you know, I've decided that we don't need to do this anymore. Or, you know, it's not like, I mean, and like I said, I don't know her personally, so I don't know if she's saying these things or not to him. But just from an outside point of view of what we know from on the internet, it looks like she doesn't hold any boundaries. So if she's not holding any boundaries, then it kind of comes across as unconditional love by definition. You know, I don't know. That's kind of how I see it. What do you think?
I mean, I guess if by definition she's showing unconditional love, but I don't know. I don't think you can really love someone if you're doing that. Because this may sound cheesy, but in order to love someone else, you have to love yourself. So if you love someone that much that you're allowing them to hurt you, you don't love yourself. So you really don't know the definition of love to begin with. I don't think. So I can't even call that love in general. To me. That's not displaying love, because you obviously don't know how to love. If you can't love yourself first, you can't love somebody else. I don't think so. So I can't even really call it love. I don't know what I can call it. Because I've never seen that before displayed in my personal life. That's a new level of intense.
That's a new level of intense.
That's a new level of intense. I've never seen that displayed.
I don't understand that
in my life. So I really can't, like you said, I can't comment or understand it. But I can say I do not think that's love on anybody's part. Because you show love based on what you've seen.
Love you, and we'll hear from y'all soon. Bye.
See you soon.